TK. Oh, yes.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay. T- um, so there's no particular order, and this is not meant to be an all-inclusive list. So if someone's OTK list is not in here, don't be offended. I'm sorry I didn't think of it off the top of my head. Um, I did check Scout's Discord for this to make sure, and I'm sure I missed some of his lists too. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to be driving, and Baron von Glower will be putting these in and see how he thinks about some of the most notable um, OTK lists. So we're going to start off.
You will have to assist me with some though, because for some I haven't been around.
But yeah, that's
Like Crusader OTK, I have never played sadly.
okay. So let's start with Hyper Ramp. Are you familiar with Hyper Ramp OTK?
Is that research ramp where you just run full spy rings and stuff?
No, Hyper Ramp was uh it was using rush production and playing a bunch of low cost units that died to it to get basically enough credits to
Oh,
get
that's
double nukes
that
and play
sounds
them in one
amazing.
turn.
Yeah, that sounds. I want to put that in S tier because that concept sounds amazing. Maybe let's be
Conceptually it was
conservative.
really fun, but practically it was really difficult. One, because the person couldn't heal over 30 pretty much, and two, um, it wasn't as consistent because you needed to basically burn your entire deck to be able to play it.
Yeah, so it's a classic
But
disparity of
but
it's really fun, but it doesn't really work, I guess.
it did work well enough for people to try to get it to work all the time.
That sounds like a classic B tier to me, then, though it seems kind of unfair to give a concept like that a B, but I think that's where that kind of stuff fits in, right?
Okay. Yeah, there's no D tier OTK list. Am I right? I'm just kidding. We'll see. We'll see. So this next one is called Buff, Bolster, and Ura. It's a combination of any deck that runs like a OT34, um, and then buffs it a bunch with final pushes, or it could be um, Soviet USA with stand fast and then bolster and then Ura basically onto a
And
tank.
gambling with hasty reinforcements now. Yeah, I don't know. I've played that kind of deck a bunch. I've tried US main with Patton and the new OT. It's not particularly fun and it's not good. I think that might be the first C tier.
Okay.
What are your experience? Did you try stuff like that
Um,
before?
I think it's kind of like a US. It's like the same idea as Siberian Transfer OTK, right? Because you can,
Exactly,
but
just worse.
uh, just worse. I know Spoos has a video out on it where he did pretty well with it, but maybe it was an older meta. It does work well if you can get it on a OT34, because then you can get insane amount of damage out with it.
Yeah, and that's how I played it. Yeah, I said it with Patton and stuff.
All
But
right, so
it's
you're
just
saying
the
it's
issue
not
with the
good.
yeah. I mean, US like you, Soviet US is just doesn't feel good as an OTK combination. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of lists that try to run it, but it's just not. I don't know.
So you're going to put it in C?
It sounds. I think so. Might be a bit unfair, but that's what my gut's saying.
Okay, well then let's go to a similar deck real quick. And this is going to be US Soviet OTK, which could include something like Dian's lists or something similar to it. You know, you got your special assignment,
Yeah,
you got your bolsters, you got your um, Fury Artie with final pushes and Patton. You know, the whole
yeah,
OTK kit.
yeah. I'm fond of that concept. I've never gotten it to work. Well, somewhat, I guess. It's not too bad. I've before the World Championships, I've scrimmed Dian a bunch, and he played that into me, and he basically he won like most games with it. To be fair, it was a favorable matchup, but in the matchups that it's good in, I think it's actually like legit. I think he also beat J King in it in the opens. Uh, Maybe it has its place in some context, and it's fun to play. I would maybe put it on the top of B tier, or maybe low A tier.
All right, well, we'll put it top of B for now. We can come back to it.
Yeah,
There's only 13 things in this, so just keep that in mind. Um,
yeah. Maybe at the end we can revise it and see if I want to change
all right,
anything.
the next one we'll discuss is bypass.
I've
Have you
never
had
played
any
bypass
bypass
OTK.
OTKs?
No, I have never played bypass. Actually, I've never played a bypass deck. Period. I don't know who it was. It might have been Blue Blast or something who killed him with bypass a while ago. It seems kind of it's like powerful, not in the way that it's good, but powerful in the way that when it happens to, it's like okay, like that's a powerful move, you know. It's I can't really judge it enough because I haven't played it. What do you think?
I think it's situational. The problem is if you have expensive tanks, um, it's hard to get the front line. And if you have tanks in the front line, most of the time you're gonna win anyways. But it does have
Yeah,
scenarios where if you have tanks in the front line, um, you can still get
I
good
mean,
value out
but
of it. For example, if you
you
have
played
two,
French ally, right?
you can play French or Italy or USA. It just depends. Um, chasing shadows is nice with it though.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm thinking low B or
I would
C.
I would put C or D to be honest. It's
Yeah, I think C is the place for it.
okay. All right, let's go to Brit US OTK. So this is going to have your Spitfire, your Patriotic Zeals, your
I don't think
buff
I've
Patriotic
seen.
Zeal.
Yeah,
You can use Spitfire and
but this just seems like straight up a lot worse Brit Soviet.
well, you can use Spitfire. You can use what's the Wellington. You can use research to make it big, and then you can use two patriotic zeals that you've discounted to make
I
it
don't know.
massive.
I think the thing is with OTKs, I don't like OTKs that can get stopped by guards. I just think that's kind of that takes the fun out of it.
True that they have two blitz bombers available in it.
Yeah, TV wants to join the video.
Hello TV. We're talking about Brit US OTK.
Awful. Absolutely awful. A tier.
No, I'm thinking C with that and the lowest so far. That doesn't sound
You
like
think
I don't know.
bypass
I
is
can't
better than
really.
Brit US OTK?
Not better. I'm not ranking it by being better, but just like the overall. I guess somewhat of it being good, but it just sounds really unfun to play that.
Both Brit US OTK and Brit Soviet OTK have been like shafted with like the just frankly deserved Spitfire nerfs, which means you can only get a 4/4 Fury or just the 6/6 normal plane, which is pretty bad for OTK, as opposed to what could be a 5/6 Fury plane.
All right, so let's talk about Brit Soviet OTK then. Where do you think that one is, Baron?
I, I see it as a B tier, because of the Soviet package is just so like the Scorched Earths are just powerful. They're
Yeah, I
too
think overall,
powerful.
the Soviets have better stall. They have like better, more reliable bursts. Like US, you have to kind of ramp up to it, and it's pretty expensive. What US does have is the guard removal, though, patrols and even overwhelming forces if you're feeling spicy. But
Yeah, and just the zero cost final pushes you can get. It's just
Okay,
I think
there's
mechanics.
some more notable decks in here too. So let's transition to Reckless Assault OTK. What do you think about that?
Oh man, I've never played it. I've just seen it. I think Spoos played it a bunch, right?
Yeah.
It's just how convoluted it is. Kind of makes it deserve at least a B tier.
Okay.
Again, it's something I haven't played myself yet, but just weird concepts like that are great.
it can work, which makes it instantly better than most of these.
So about where into B tier it fits, I would see it on par with Brit Soviet, just like in general, like considering all like the all aspects, maybe ahead of it, I guess, because the concept's a lot cooler.
Okay.
I'm not
So
gonna argue about the
this
existing rankings on here because that's gonna extend the video by like 20 minutes. And
basically
Now we're
Philip
gonna
is
revise at
talking.
the end.
Philip is putting a lot of emphasis on how fun and unique the idea is, not necessarily on how competitively viable it is.
Yeah, it's
oh,
like
okay,
a mixture of how the idea of it, how much fun it is to play, and then I guess somewhat of if it's actually workable.
that's fair then.
All right, so let's talk about Japan Air OTK. That includes your bolsters, uh, with Tony's or any Japan plane where you're gonna dish out 20 damage in one turn.
Now Japan like air OTK stuff is probably like the most. I lose to it on ladders so much. It's like it's so tilting as well. So I don't know. It's fun. It's different. It's just not like it's just the fact that it's Japan, makes it a bit more exciting than the Spitfire OTKs in a way.
It's also a lot more reliable just because of the blitz, and I find it incredibly bland though. But that's just my personal
I
taste.
think it's kind of spicy because people run it like whenever you play against it, people run some wacky stuff with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's latest like last B tier or like highest C tier would be my instinct. What do you think about the placement TV?
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
highest C tier.
Yeah, maybe like high mid C tier.
Wow, I would have put it in A just because it's more
Oh really?
reliable and it's still fun, but that's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
I see. Yeah, maybe Lord. We can like I said go over the thing at the
okay.
end maybe when we've seen
All
everything.
right, let's
As
talk
as an
about.
OTK player, your greatest passion is staring into every single potential future, like Doctor Strange. With Japan OTK, there is one outcome, and it is big plane go burr, which is a little sad to me.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe it's like a hybrid. It's not really like a true OTK player if you play Japan OTK.
Yeah, and that pushes it deservedly into C tier.
All right, Prime autocannon.
That's an S for me. It's just so iconic, and the idea is amazing. Do you agree, TV?
Yeah, I don't think there's never been like a more really innovative OTK, but like Scout huffed some paint one day, decided to make this OTK with the original Soviet version, then improved on it with the Choco Boys and the US version, and then it got gutted because we can't have anything nice in this game.
Wow.
Yeah. Which version did you prefer, TV?
The US version is faster and more reliable. The Soviet one will always hold a special place in my heart as the original, but the US one is just strictly better.
Yeah, but the Soviet's more fun
I
with the mother
remember the
rushes.
first time
It,
I saw Scout pop off against Spoos in one of his videos in this, and my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe what I had just seen.
yeah, the sad thing is I've only got into playing it like a week before it got destroyed. So I got to have like a little fun with it, and then it was gone.
I swear, every week, or if not every month, someone in the Discord would post a clip of them losing to autocannon OTK and claim the other person was hacking.
Yeah,
There were people that were out for blood for this deck.
Yeah.
Probably the most BM part of it was that like the natural delay between animations on like your side and the opponent's side, so it would keep going
Yeah,
for 30 seconds longer after you were
yeah,
dead.
yeah. And you couldn't concede just in case they don't find that for some reason they like don't find the last guy or something. So you would have to like go through with it.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
But they always had it. That's the thing. But I still had to stick around to the end.
All right. Let's talk about Eagle Day OTK. This could be German main, US main, Soviet main, but it's primarily I was thinking of Eagle Day plus bolster on the bomber.
That's one for TV. He's the eagle.
I'll give it A tier. I like the deck.
Which version do you like the most?
Personally, I think the Soviet version gives me more access to stall, and it also, yeah, it's just generally more reliable stall. But the US version, like,
52K is probably also
yeah, the
pretty
US
good.
Ally version also grants, instead of like using the tiny bomber and hyper buffing that, you can just slap one bolster plus something else on the junkers, and that can work. But I found the Soviet version to be a lot more reliable from my experience.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I like Eagle Day as well. I I don't like playing it myself much, but just the deck as a whole is really cool. I remember losing to this like really early on of when I started cards. I was really confused by. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. It's similarly nostalgic to me in a way that like autocannon is.
All
Even though
right.
it's still around, I guess. Was Eagle Day ever stronger than it is now?
No, I think it may have been weaker,
I think it's kind
actually.
of unexplored. I don't know if a lot of people know about the Soviet version, personally.
Maybe I'll try to actually get it onto the OCC stage. We'll see.
All right, Crusader OTK.
Yeah, I haven't been around for that, so that's on
S
you guys.
tier easily.
Dude, it was so busted. They had to hot patch it.
I think that is like the one deck in my playing career, and been playing since like the global release. It was the one deck that was hot fixed because I think this thing could have easily. If this thing was not hot fixed, it would have been meta. It would have been this in Jagro. There was no counterplay to it besides going fast and possibly Blackwatch.
Can
National
you
Fire
explain
Service.
how it works again?
Okay, you fish for. You have exactly two units in the deck, Pioneer and Crusader. Back then, Pioneer could reduce cost of one credit orders to 0, right? So you put down the Crusader, you put down the Pioneer, you play a bunch of one cost orders like Raid. You could play Resolute Defense on the Crusader, which had supply drop on it, which would hyper buff it. You could play naval supports on it to, well, make the defense go higher, and you can just draw out your entire deck. So basically, you would pin the entire board, make your opponent hand everything in your opponent's hand costs 4 more, and the next turn you would just raw and lethal.
Also, so Ura would apply to every unit.
Yeah, that was what they did for the hotfix. They just, instead of having it
Oh, okay.
+2 for all nations units, it was +3 for Soviet units only.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that sounds S tier to me though.
I didn't get to play it, but the 2 weeks that it was around, when there was about like 3 days where pros were finally discovering like, oh gosh, this thing is pretty good, and then it got hotfixed. What could have been?
All right. Next deck, Prime Caddy OTK.
Again, I haven't been around for it, but that also sounds like a solid A tier to me, right?
Caddy OTK as of now, I believe is the only OTK deck that has been brought by multiple non-OTK specialists on a competitive level. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it might have to be S tier on that alone.
Maybe. Like I said, I haven't been around at all for it.
I would put it A personally, just because it was so meta that it was it even still a OTK deck?
You gotta stay exclusive once the
It
Once
was
the general population gets a hold of it, it's no longer a good deck.
there was several OCC play-ins, I believe, or opens where people were bringing it and then bringing their decks to counter against it. Like they were teching their deck to beat Caddy OTK.
Yeah, this deck was easily the most competitively viable out of this list. Maybe not the most fun though. It also had zero counterplay, whereas the others had at least some semblance of counterplay. But yeah, I
I
think
mean,
high
First Marines, and air defense were your best hope.
National Fire Service.
Yeah. All right, and the last but not least, Siberian Transfer OTK. Can you give us a hint where you think this would go?
I wouldn't put it into. I could never put it next to autocannon. I'm saying high A tier here.
I'm saying D tier. Yep.
All right, let's put it in A tier, and let's just review real quick. We're keeping S tier like this just because not because Crusader was worse than autocannon, but because autocannon was more iconic.
Also longevity.
And
Longevity, you mean?
Why am I getting corrected on English by a German?
uh, A
Yeah,
tier.
I
What do
think
you think?
autocannon, and just autocannon itself, like the main card in it, it's just so, it's just screams like it's iconic. It's amazing. The name, like auto, I guess Crusader is also pretty good, but
Yeah, I think this deck, like, S and A look pretty good. I think we may have to bump some down to D tier for the sake of having a D tier.
What do you think about the A tier order?
Looks good to me.
yeah, I mean personally, of course, I would see Siberian first A tier, but it hasn't been. It's gonna be lifted up some more. Someone has to bring it to another OCC.
See
Lead them with
what
it.
needs to happen is we need to both make OCC and we need to both bring this deck. That'll
Yeah,
probably bump it up to A tier.
then we'll then it's getting into S if we both make it. And
True.
if we mirror match in the finals with it, then it's gonna be S tier.
B tier. What do you think?
That's pretty good. I mean, that hyper ramp thing you explained to me, that sounds really cool, actually. So I would probably put that like in front of the Brit Soviet.
Hyper ramp like just research ramp?
Yeah, it was U.S. Germany with rush production, and you basically played your entire deck, and you would get enough credits to nuke, to research, nukes,
Oh,
and double nuke.
oh, I remember this. This deck sucks now, but it did suck back then too. But yeah, I think this is pretty good. A decent spot
It
for it. It was
was
pretty
it
fun.
was fun, but it
It was
wasn't.
it
It
was
was.
fun.
Yeah, that's
It's
a case
pretty.
where the one way of evaluating this, it's like an insane idea and it's really cool, but it sounds like it would be really bad.
It's like
Yeah.
Scout's neglected stepchild.
What do you
C
think about
tier.
C tier? Do you want to bump anything down to D tier?
I guess Brit US just sounds so bland and not good as well.
Brit US also just cannot OTK on its own. I mean, a lot needs to
I
happen.
mean,
Like
it just dies, right?
the smallest number of cards that can OTK is like a Spitfire Finest. Not even Bolster would do it. You'd have to use a Patriotic Zeal. So that's three. That's three cards. It's 12 credits already. So yeah, I think it's just a crappy OTK. I think D
Well,
tier is a good
I'm
spot for
gonna
it.
have to redeem Brit US OTK against you guys.
Okay, good luck running through my one guard.
Oh, no, no, no.
Oh.
I won't need that. I can go over it.
And it's a plane. What do you mean, TV? Plane's gonna go over everything.
Uh, Looks like you need to reinvent the US OTK with a Blenheim or something.
I think C tier is fine, but
No, that's fine.
Maybe
That's fine.
Tony
This
maybe
is just a challenge.
you think?
Just a challenge.
I've never seen Brit US OTK pulled off. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That same. I don't know.
But for a
I don't think I've
while,
ever played against
it
it.
was one of the most menacing decks on ladder. I felt.
Even even when like
Wait, what?
Vibator was like running around, he was using Brit Soviet, if I remember correctly.
Around that time, I mean, it also has Commonwealth as a win condition too. It's not the main OTK, but
That sounds so janky. I'm sorry.
Professionals of standards.
all right. Any other changes to C tier?
I mean, Japan on top of in front of I don't know. I think we might be doing bypass a bit dirty with it being last because it's kind of a cool concept.
I actually was about to say the opposite. That bypass was on the border between C and D.
I mean, fine. I guess I can see that.
What? Wait, what is that? URA OTK thing? I can't really make it out.
It's like Soviet, U.S. ramp bolster URA OTK. I said buff bolster URA. It's a generic term for
Classic BBU OTK.
pretty
Oh,
much.
like the one that Cappuccino brought to OCC that one time with like
Yeah,
OT34s and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that one's really boring and bland and not really OTK.
That one is Siberian OGK at home.
Yeah, yeah. No, what else I evaluated this with was like what you can run now with a new OT. You can run US main and run pattern and an OT34 and stuff, but that's also like just doesn't work.
Yeah, overall, I think this looks pretty good.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm happy with it.
All right. Well, let us know what you think. And I'll definitely will be playing some more Brit US OTK.
Please don't.
All right. Take care, boys.